Hey there, and welcome. Let's be honest, nobody enjoys failing. But what if our biggest mistakes are actually our most powerful teachers? Today, we're going to dive into this really cool idea, how to turn any setback you've had into a serious tool for success.
So, I want to start with a pretty big question for you. What if that one thing you really regret, that project that totally crashed and burned, or that one massive mistake, what if it wasn't a liability at all? What if it was actually your greatest asset, just in disguise? It's a wild thought, I know, but that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
All right, so first things first, we have to look at failure in a completely new way. Instead of seeing it as this big, scary thing to avoid at all costs, let's start digging for the hidden opportunity that's always there. This whole thing really boils down to two totally different ways of thinking. The common view sees failure as a dead end, an end point. It's proof that you're weak, and it feels like a really good reason to just quit. But the growth view? That sees it as a stepping stone. It's not personal, it's just feedback. It's an invitation from the universe to adapt and try something new. And that simple shift in perspective, well, that's where this entire journey begins.
Okay, so once you've kind of accepted that, yeah, maybe failure can be useful, the next step is all about mastering your own mindset. This is the internal work of turning what feels like a really negative event into a positive catalyst for change.
I just love this quote from our source material because it really gets right to the heart of it all. Past mistakes don't define you, they shape you. I mean, think about that. When you truly genuinely believe this, you stop replaying your failures with all that regret. Instead, you start seeing them for what they are, the very experiences that build your resilience, your character. They literally become a part of your growth story.
So how do we actually do that? Well, it comes down to really adopting these three core beliefs. First, start seeing failure as just feedback. That's it. It's not personal. It's just information telling you what doesn't work. Second, treat your mistakes like data points. Every single one just gets you a little bit closer to the right answer. And finally, embrace that growth story. Your life is like a book, right? Failures are just chapters. They are never, ever the final page.
All right, so you've done the work, you've shifted your mindset, you're starting to see failure as data. Awesome. The next step is to actually analyze that data. Let's look at how we can dig into our setbacks and find those valuable lessons hidden inside.
And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's one thing to say, oh, just learn from your mistakes, but how do you actually do it? When you're in it, it just feels messy and emotional. The good news is there's a structured way to approach this.
And the structure is a really simple three-step process. First, you have to reflect, honestly and as objectively as you can, about what happened. Step 2, you look for recurring patterns. Is this a mistake you've made before? Because that is a huge clue. And finally, from those patterns, you can pull out a specific, actionable lesson.
Let's make this super real for a second. Take a look at this table. A failed business venture isn't just a failure. When you look closer, maybe the hidden pattern was consistent, poor financial planning. Boom! The actionable lesson is crystal clear. Next time, dedicate way more time to budget strategy. Or think about a broken relationship. The pattern might be that you always avoid the tough conversations. So the lesson? Practice being more direct and honest. See how that transforms a painful memory into a concrete game plan?
And now we get to the most important part of all. I mean, having all these brilliant insights is completely useless if they just stay stuck in your journal, right? This final phase is all about taking those lessons and actually putting them into practice. This is where the real growth happens. So let's be super clear about this. Learning isn't complete until it actually changes your behavior. It's such a simple statement, but it is everything. All of that hard work, all the reflection and analysis, it all leads to this single moment where you apply what you've learned.
And here's how you do it. You apply what you've learned, which helps you make smarter decisions, which in turn helps you build stronger habits. But that fourth step there is so key. Share your experience. So many of us overlook this, but talking about your lessons solidifies them for you, and it can turn your past struggle into wisdom that genuinely helps someone else. So, let's bring all of this together. We've walked through how to reframe failure, how to analyze it for those hidden lessons, and how to turn those lessons into real-world action. We're literally transforming something we're taught to fear into our greatest tool for growth.
Ultimately, this is the big takeaway. Failures aren't walls that stop you in your tracks. They're invitations. They're these moments in life that ask us to just pause, learn, and evolve.
They are the very things that make us more resilient, more capable, and way stronger than we were before.
So, I'll leave you with this one last thought. Think about your last setback, whether it was big or small. Now that you have this framework, what is that experience waiting to teach you? What's going to be your next stepping stone?